I've seen so many depressed kids
That's what I'm talking about.
So what do you all think that's about? I mean, the level of kids that
like, how do you learn about depression at a young age like that?
I mean,
you ain't paying no bills nowhere.
Because now they got counselors. See, when we was coming to school, we had counselors, but the counselor every now and then told us if we were going to college or not, how many credits we had to pass the high school. But now they got counselors, take them out the class and come and talk to them, put it on the paper. What's your problem? They got a whole therapy session in school. We didn't get that. Therapy? What? From a counselor? Child, please. We didn't grow up with talking about mental health.
I don't understand.
Let's just keep it funky.
Now I will never be your hater, I'm your biggest fan. I hope it falls into place just how you planned it. Life could put you in a pickle, just make sure it's kosher. Lean on me like Bill Withers until you smell the roses. What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving, man. Subscribe or die trying. You see the thumbnail, but more importantly, you see the clip. Google the book first so you can find it on Amazon. The question is, should modern teenagers or kids be depressed? And, some people will say yes, some people will say no. And I don't want to go, I'm going to do a comparison. It might be a Victim Olympics thing or whatever, but I think people don't understand why these kids and teenagers are depressed, because when I was younger, if your parents got divorced and you were like, grade school, high school, you were sad about that. You might have acted out in school or whatever. And I think what happens is nowadays you're trying to figure out what kids are depressed from, and it's like it's a lot of things that are not hands on. Like there were kids who didn't want to go to school because they were being bullied, right? And wasn't going to change anything. And they were being bullied physically, at the school. But now you have people bullying physically, and then you have people bullying online, and you have kids depressed because somebody might be is probably lying on them online, and the news spreads, and we go with that. And they're like, it's a lot of pressure. And it's like, yeah. When I was younger, like the materialism, there were kids who were poor and who had poor clothes, and some people had poor hygiene because they were poor or whatever. And they didn't like that. That didn't make them feel good. But now you got kids who pretty much on the opposite end of that spectrum. They pretty much are doing well. Their parents are doing well, and they can dress well, and they're eating well, and they're bathing well. But the issue is they're actually not. They're they they wanted to be fashionable, but now they just walking around with the same thing over and over and over again because they need to be forced to have a style, or they need to be forced to express themselves because this is the most non-expressive but expressive generation I've ever seen. So that becomes a problem. Now, like I said, you get bullied online, and it hurts just as much as if you got bullied by an actual person. It doesn't make sense. There's less discipline in the school. I was still in a generation where the teacher had a paddle, and that was in grade school. They stopped it when I was in high school, but sorry, excuse me. Corporal punishment was a thing. People had the paddles on the wall. People called your family. Hey, your kid's acting out of pocket. You might want to come get them. That type of stuff. Now is a lack of discipline in the school. So, and because of the lack of discipline that's going on, they used to say about us as kids and the kids before us, the kids need discipline and structure. And it's like when you set it up for them, they may not like it at first, but once you put them on your schedule or the schedule they need to be on, then they realize they get more done by doing that than just sitting around. And to me, a lot of this depression is just really because of an idle mind. The idle mind is the devil's workshop. These kids don't necessarily interact with other kids outside of school. They don't have friends that they meet with in person. You know what I mean? Or spend a night over their houses. Because the amount of people who are not courteous, and they'll do things because they don't have a sense of courtesy within them, and then you got to check them, is astounding. Is astonishing, not astounding. It's astonishing. So we're like, why these? So what are these kids acting like? It's like, listen, man, I went to school where people got, some of my classmates actually got shot and killed when we were in high school. When I was in 7th grade, most popular kid that was in 8th grade uh, got shot in the head. They were saying playing Russian roulette with some adults, but whatever. Um, Parents got divorced. If you've seen domestic violence, gang violence, this, that, and the third. Crackheads and crackheads stole my bike. Hilarious, right? Um, Seeing alcoholics, seeing the people who were maybe have touched children, seeing the people who were lied on and said they were touched by children because the children wanted to get away with stuff. Like I've seen a lot. I'm just mentioning some things, and this was around the age when I was in school, and I can tell you, depression wasn't really an option, because when people say they're depressed, some of them physically don't do much, and I think people don't want to take into consideration. And like I said before, a lot of these kids are homebodies and hermits. So a lot of this depression comes from just sitting down and doing nothing. You're not really releasing anything out of your body. You're not really releasing any stress. You're not really how can I put this? You're not exhausting yourself, and that exhausting moment for you is gonna make your life better in the long run. But since you're not exhausting yourself, you BSing out here and you getting sad because, if you ever seen people who like sit down a lot and don't do much, they just sit there with their thoughts and they just sad, sad, sad. And it's like you don't get up and do anything. And that becomes the issue. And now it's like people that are my age and up, or maybe a little bit lower, because I'm 44. Like, man, these kids not depressed. They're just lazy. These kids have come. Black people, this is our first time in mass looking at our kids and go, you know what? You the spoiled suburban kid I didn't like when I was in grade school and high school. That's what you've become. And you can't necessarily get mad at them because now they think they got a certain kind of lifestyle because their parents is doing better than their grandparents in cases. So we don't get the depression because you got people who came from really bad circumstances to the middle class to upper class, and their kids come from really good circumstance, and you're like, what are you sad about? Because I got too much stuff. Well, give it away, but I don't want to give it away. Throw it away, but I don't want to throw it away. It's a weird thing, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna leave it at that. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace. You ever been at the top of the universe? I'm gonna tell you that.